If, on a distant planet, an advanced civilization were observing Voyager 1, would Voyager 1 look any different to them than an object like 3I Atlas? And if they once launched a probe of their own long ago, could that object to us appear as just another 3I Atlas stay until the end of this video? We have observational evidence already recorded showing that these two objects share more in common than you might expect. We understand Voyager 1 only because we remember its story. Strip that story away, and the object itself gives no hint that it was ever meant to explore anything. Meaning does not travel with the object. Meaning survives only where memory exists. The universe does not archive intentions. It does not recognize missions, origins, or purpose. It responds only to motion, mass, energy, and interaction. Everything else is invisible to it. Given enough time, every object is reduced to this state. A probe becomes a trajectory. A message becomes momentum. Intelligence collapses into physics. This is not decay. It is not loss. It is the most honest form of existence the universe allows. And this is exactly the state in which 3I Atlas was observed. This connection becomes clear only when we examine one specific, already recorded physical observation later in the video. Fast forward time by millions of years, far beyond the lifespan of any human civilization. At that scale, Voyager 1 no longer belongs to history. It belongs to physics. Voyager 1 is still moving through interstellar space. There are no active instruments, no commands, no control signals. Nothing is steering it anymore. What remains is momentum, a trajectory set long ago, now carrying it forward without intention or correction. Voyager 1 does not transmit messages, but it is not invisible. As it moves, it interacts passively with surrounding plasma and magnetic fields, leaving subtle but measurable physical traces, changes in particle density, and disturbances in local plasma behavior. These traces are not speculative. They have been measured and recorded. Voyager 1 is silent, yet it still marks the space it passes through, not by intention, but by physics alone. This matters because the same category of physical trace has already been observed in another object, one that was never meant to be a probe. That connection becomes clear when we examine one specific observation later in the video. 3I Atlas became controversial not because of what it is, but because we did not know how to look at it. There was no story attached, no mission history, no intention to anchor our interpretation. Its hyperbolic trajectory confirmed one thing clearly. It does not belong to the solar system. It arrived from interstellar space and will never return. There is no evidence of control, no communication, no maneuvering. Nothing suggests guidance or intent. Yet 3I Atlas is not physically silent. As it passed through the solar system, it interacted with its environment in measurable ways. Observations recorded changes in its surrounding material and behavior that do not fully match familiar comet models. Some features stood out precisely because they resisted easy classification. When context is missing, speculation fills the gap. Explanations multiply, not because the data demands them, but because uncertainty does. But the observational data itself does not disappear. It remains fixed, measurable, and comparably independent of the stories we project onto it. That is why the most important step is not interpretation, but comparison. When we place 3I Atlas next to Voyager 1, one specific, already recorded physical similarity becomes impossible to ignore. That comparison is what we will show at the end of the video. At this point, Speculation stops. We stop asking what these objects might be and look directly at what the data already shows. Observations of 3I Atlas revealed signs of environmental interaction that stood out. Weak emissions, irregular behavior, and disturbances that did not fully align with typical comet activity. These signals were subtle. They were easy to dismiss, but they were consistent enough to be recorded. Voyager 1, far beyond the solar system, shows a strikingly similar category of interaction. As it moves through interstellar space, it disturbs the surrounding plasma in measurable ways, not because it is transmitting, accelerating, or maneuvering, but simply because it exists and moves within a specific physical environment. In both cases, the objects are passive. They are not doing anything. Physics is doing something to them. The origins could not be more different. One was built by human hands. The other arrived from interstellar space. Yet they leave behind the same type of physical trace. Not a message. Not a signal of intent, but an imprint created by interaction with plasma and magnetic fields. This is the detail science could not ignore, because it exists independently of interpretation. What comes next is not theory. It is direct comparison. What you are seeing is not a coincidence in shape, and not an artistic comparison. It is a physical trace recorded independently in both cases. Both objects disturb their surrounding plasma in the same way, creating a similar interaction pattern despite radically different origins. This is not evidence of extraterrestrial intelligence, but it is evidence of something else. When context is removed, when intention disappears, and only physics remains, Voyager 1 and 3, I Atlas, begin to look far more alike than we are comfortable admitting. 3, I, Atlas, has passed through. Voyager 1 is still moving on. The question was never about what arrived, but whether we are ready to look at the data the right way.